I thought today we'd do something a little different. In today's video, I am going to show you the upgrades that Joni and I did to our RV site down here in RGV, Rio Grande Valley, this winter. Because before we had this, we had to move from park to park to park, every couple, 3 weeks. And so having a stable place here is really nice to have. But while we're here, we also exercise our coach regularly. And I'm going to cover that too. Details coming up on RV Street. Okay, let's get right to it. Those of you who follow our channel, you know that Joni and I bought our own RV site down in the very bottom of Texas, about 8 miles from Mexico. We bought this site in an RV community. It's deeded, it's our property, and that's it. There's no leasing or anything like that. And if you're new to our channel and you're interested in what that process is all about and what's involved, I did a complete video of that last year, so take a look at that if you're interested in those details. Now, when we were looking at different RV sites in assorted different locations, some parks will let you do some things, some will not. And there were several things that were important to us when we were looking for our own permanent site for the winter. But one of the main things that was important to us is we wanted to be able to put over an awning on our site. And this park allowed us to do that. But in order to do that, you have to actually draw up plans, then you submit the plans, and then they approve the plans. Once you get the plan approval from the park, you take that authorization to the city, and the city will issue you a building permit. And that building permit costed a little over $100. But I really like the fact that this park has certain guidelines they want you to adhere to, the length, the material, the overhang, and all those type of things, because they want to make sure that nobody puts up something that's going to be an eyesore or put up with junk. I mean, this park is a nice park and they want to keep it that way. So I have no problem adhering to the few rules that they had in place. So the first thing I did is I drew up the plans of what I wanted. And I want to show you something here. Come on over here. I want to explain why we came out into this L shape here. The park has rules that the very front 25 feet from the curb back, you cannot put anything permanent there. We put the main post at 25 feet and then built an arch out and then came up. The reason we did it this way is because I wanted to extend that awning out another 5 feet past that 25-foot mark. And that way we're able to put a 40-foot coach in here or a fifth wheel, which is what we're probably going to do later down the road when all this traveling is done. So me and the fabricator came up with this idea. And we added another support here, and I'm actually going to add another one going across from there to there about 10 feet up. I'm going to do that next year. This is why we built this front support area this way, and we did it this way on both sides. So I found a fella. He's actually not an awning guy per se. He's a welder slash fabricator. He builds all kinds of stuff. He's a small shop, but the guy is really good. I went and looked at some of his other projects that he did, and I was watching the way he was welding, and he was very meticulous about doing different things. And I thought, you know what? This is the guy that I want building and welding up our awning. So once I had the city permit in my hand, he delivered the material to us here on our RV site. Everything is steel, no aluminum anywhere. The main columns are 4-inch 3/16 steel. They were set in 3 feet of concrete. I was like, man, I don't know how these guys are going to handle this stuff. But they did. There were 3 guys total on the job. Once the awning was complete, I had Mike come back out and power wash the entire pad again. But we really like the finished product. I mean, for the obvious reasons, we don't have the sun beating down on us. It protects us from rain and weather, and it gives us a nice, it's like our own little private spot where we can have parties or barbecue and whatever. I built it tall enough where I can actually stand on the top and do my washing, service the roof. Even if I had to replace an air conditioner or whatever, there's plenty of room up there to do whatever I need to do on top of the roof, and I really like that. And of course, having this site gives us a place just to rest, and we've made a ton of friends here. I mean, I'm just so glad. This was a major project for us to get out of the way this year, and it's done. And Martin's happy. We Martinized our RV site. Everywhere we go, we Martinize stuff. After the awning job was complete, Joni and I installed a new small section of fence, planted a few plants just to pretty that corner up some, and as far as we're concerned, all this heavy lifting and all this heavy work, it is done. One other little tidbit I'd like to throw in here and mention, while we were here this year, we also went to Progreso, Mexico. We went there 6 times, but we go there to get dental work done. We both had our teeth cleaned, and Joni had some other work done, so we had to go back 3 or 4 more times just, to kind of do this in steps. While you walk across the bridge, across the Rio Grande River, a lot of the people down there, they put little jugs, cut out plastic jugs on tall bamboo poles, and they run them up and stick them through the fence or the barrier there on the side of the bridge, and they'll call out from below asking you to put money into the buckets. And they're all lined up on both sides, whether you're going into Mexico or coming out of Mexico. It's kind of strange to see that. You kind of feel sorry for these folk. When we go into Mexico, I know a lot of you think, wow, that's dangerous. I actually thought the same thing, but I'm going to tell you, it's very safe to go. You just cross over the border, and there's literally every kind of pharmacy and doctor and dentist and whatever you need. Eyeglasses. You can go in there and get them for pennies on the dollar, which you would pay for here in the States. And then, of course, they have their outside restaurants, and you can get lunches and beer and tequila. You can get all that stuff there, and trinkets and blankets and whatever you want. But it's a fun place to go. It's safe to go. There's several places you can go into Mexico from RGV. Progreso is the safest, best place to go. Now I want to talk just a little bit about exercising our coach. I know a lot of you do what we do. You may go to Florida and go from park to park to park in the winter, or you may go to Arizona. A lot of people come down here. But in a place like this, where you park and it's yours, okay, maybe you leased a place for 3 months. You're going to stay right here for 3 months. It's so easy to just get settled in, and you don't want to break down anything. You don't want to move the coach. You don't want to do anything. You want to sit there and enjoy yourself for the entire winter. Well, I totally get that. But you guys know how anal I am about exercising our coach. And that's what we do down here. We take it out about every 6 weeks and we run it. Starting your coach in place and just letting it run is not exercising the coach. You want to get it out on the road and get the tires hot and work the whole drivetrain and the bearings and the coolant system and the oil and all that stuff. And that's what we do. For us, it's not a real big deal just to unhook everything and go and take this baby for a ride. So I'm going to show you the steps that we go through to exercise our coach. So the first thing I do is I get up on the roof with a bucket of Woolite soap and water and wipe off my slide toppers. So I actually take the time. It takes me 5 minutes. I take a bucket of Woolite soap and water, wipe them down, they're good to go. The next thing I do is remove my windshield shades and clean the front window. And you remember this, right? My slide covers and foam that I use. You've seen me use that before. I remove all those and I wipe down the slide arms. Then Joni and I walk around and remove all the tire covers. And while I'm at it, I dump all the tanks and flush out the black tank using my wand. The wand I use has a tip on it, but when you buy it, the tip is too small to put out a good blast of water. So I cut off about a ½ an inch off the yellow tip, and that really did the trick. Now when I flush with this wand, it just blasts everything off the sidewalls and everything. It really gets that tank clean. Joni hands me the wand through the bedroom window, and then I go to the toilet and flush out the tank from up there. It's a straight shot to the black tank from there. Then I disconnect all my hoses, water softener, sewer hose, and electrical cord. I bring in the large slide first, and then I bring in the bedroom slide. And last thing I do, I retract my front and rear levelers all at the same time. Remember when I told you we go to Mexico? Well, that's just south, like 8 miles or so south of a little town called Weslaco, Texas. And that's where we're going to go when we exercise the coach. We're going to get on the freeway and go about 63, 65 miles an hour, really get this thing up and running, and go to Weslaco, turn around, we're going to come back. And since I already need some gas, we're going to go ahead and top off down the street here and get some gas while we're there. I've already got about maybe 5/8 of a tank, 3/4 of a tank, and I already have some seafoam in there. But when we top off at the gas station, I'm going to put in 2 more bottles of Seafoam, top off the tank, and that way that gas will be good for the rest of our stay here. And besides, I do this every once in a while anyway as a maintenance item. I like to run that Seafoam through my entire fuel system so it gets through all the injectors and into my generator and all that. So let's get ready and let's take this baby for a drive. Okay, we're getting ready to exercise this baby. I got my TPMS on, and we aren't taking the Toad with us. I'm also monitoring my scan gauge 2, which this is my coolant temperature, the amount of volts I'm charging, my transmission temperature, and this is the gas miles per gallon, but we haven't gone anywhere yet, so there's nothing there. I've got my dash AC on right here because it's kind of warm and humid today. So let's pick it up now as I am approaching the gas station. There's a couple of good tips here that I want to cover, and also some thoughts on exercising. Now let's go fill it up with gas and I'll show you what I do. So the first thing you want to do when you're getting gas and you leave the coach and there's nobody left in there for security reasons, you always want to lock up the coach, because when you're back there gassing up, you don't want somebody to sneak around in here and start stealing stuff. So the first thing I do is I have a locking gas cap. This is not factory. I had to buy a separate lock. You don't want anybody to get any smart ideas. So putting a locking gas cap on there is probably a good idea. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in these 2 bottles of Seafoam. And then I start filling up with fuel. That'll wash all that down in there. And as I drive back to park the coach, it'll rock and mix all that Seafoam in there. We're currently paying $232.9. And one thing that Joni and I have seen from time to time traveling is some gas stations will cut you off at $75. Some will cut you off at $100. There's a few where I've been able to go beyond $100. Once I hit that limit where they won't allow me to pump anymore, sometimes I can put that credit card back in and they'll allow me to continue pumping on a new ticket. But sometimes I have to use a secondary credit card. They will not let me use that same credit card twice. And that is not the credit card company, that is the gas company that does that. So I always carry 2 credit cards, but 99% of the time I'm able to fill up on 1 card because I never let my tank go below half, as a rule. Okay, so we got gas, and by moving to this lane, my exit's right here in front of me. Whenever you're pulling out of a gas station, always watch for your tail swing. Both sides. Now you can see I'm making a hard right, and you can see in my mirror there, I'm watching that tail swing, making sure some car doesn't dash in front of me or anything like that. And here we go, back home. We traveled 51.8 miles on that exercise. You see our odometer right there? 51.8 miles. And you can see here on our TPMS, the tires got all nice and warmed up. You can see my coolant temperature is 198. I'm charging 13.9, 13.8, sometimes 14.0. That's charging the batteries. My transmission fluid is 151. And right here on the miles per gallon, it shows 4.1 miles per gallon. Well, that's not accurate, because this number here, it takes about an hour of solid running before it starts to really begin to get accurate. We ended up stopping. We went down the freeway, turned around, came back. That was about an hour, and then I stopped completely, topped off the fuel, and so it starts all over again. So just bear that in mind when you use this feature on ScanGauge. It takes about an hour on a full tank of gas before it'll really show you what kind of miles per gallon that you're getting. Pretty cool, huh? I mean, it's really quite easy to do. This place is just such a nice place of refuge for the wintertime, and we've made some great friends and continue to meet new people. So don't forget, if you guys like this DIY stuff, maintaining your coach and upgrading your coach and all those type of things, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell off to the right and click all so you'll be notified the next time I upload my next video. If you go to our main YouTube channel page right up here and click playlists, that's going to take you to a whole library of videos I've already done on a multitude of things, because you guys can do 80 to 90% of the things that needs to be done to your RV. You do not have to pay $125 an hour to a mobile tech or take it to the dealer, let it sit out there for a few weeks until they decide to get to it. You guys can do this stuff, and I like to show you how it gets done. So don't forget to go to that playlist. Please don't forget, guys, to use our Amazon store when you need items that are either in our store or maybe you need something that's not in our store. Just by clicking the link in the description text down there, you can go to our store, search for what you need, put it in the cart, and check out. It's a great way to say, thank you, Martin. Thank you for making these videos and helping the RV community. It's awesome when you guys use our store. Thank you. So that's it, guys. That's what Joni and I have been doing down here this winter in our RV site in Rio Grande Valley. And how important it is to exercise your coach even when you are comfortably settled for the winter. So until next time, this is RV Street. Stick around.